Are you looking for answers to the unknown? Welcome to Live with Medium Lisa Phoenix and step into the magical presence of the metaphysical realm. Lisa will share the wisdom and musings from her own experiences, have intriguing conversations with other mediums and healers, in addition to exploring a wide array of topics and teachings on intuitive and mediumship development. Lisa will be taking your calls and inviting your friends and loved ones in the spirit world to share their stories with us. Raise your awareness as you are reunited on the level of love, and let's go live with Medium Lisa Phoenix.
Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. It's a wonderful day in Southern California. Welcome to Live with Lisa Phoenix Radio. I'm Lisa Phoenix, your host, a medium, and an energy intuitive. My show is all about healing, mediumship, and energy management. And my special guest this morning is Tracy Dunblazer, spiritual empath and teacher. Good morning, Tracy. Are you there? Tracy.
Good morning. How are ya?
Good. Sorry, folks, we're having a little bit of hard time with the connection. We're going to talk about a variety of topics this morning, and the station is currently working on the call-in features for the show. So for now, if you want to share some of your own challenges or ask questions about your own specific journey, please go to my Facebook page, Lisa Phoenix Live, and post your questions, and we will do our best to address them while we're on the air. If you want further information about the Live with Lisa Phoenix radio show, please visit my page on the Om Times radio site at OMTimes, OMTIMES.com/IOM/hosts/Lisa-Phoenix, PHOENIX. And you can always, if you want to reach me, you can email me at info@lisaphoenix.net or go to my website, LISAPHOENIX.net. I would love it if you would go to my website once again, lisaphoenix.net, and sign up for my Intuitive Insights newsletter, which will also add you to my mailing list. And please like me on Facebook at Lisa Phoenix Live. Now, about my special guest, Tracy. Tracy Dunblazer, GCC, CCDC, spiritual empath, shaman, educator, and spiritual counselor, is based in Los Angeles, California. Tracy specializes in grief counseling, energy dynamics, intuitive counseling, shamanic healing, space clearings, past life regression, soul recovery, and transition strategy. In 2005, Tracy founded It's Time to offer resources, education, and strategies for other practitioners, as well as those just embarking on their spiritual path. Tracy's website is www.tracydunblazer.com. That's TRACEDUNBLAZIER.com. which I suggest you visit to get a better idea of what this wonderful woman is all about. Tracy, welcome to the show this morning. Great to have you on.
It's great to be here. Thank you so much. Amazing day today.
It is, isn't it? It's really vibrant here, and we're in Pacific time, so that's about 10 a.m. And I know all our East Coast listeners are, about 1 p.m. now.
Yeah, they're well into their afternoon.
Yes. So Tracy, what's going on this week?
Gosh, quite a few things are going on. I've been, I've been working on this book. It's set to be published in July or August and really fully out in September. But one of the subjects that the spiritual theme, every week I have a spiritual theme.
Yes.
Kind of the thoughts and the ideas and the patterns of the thoughts and the ideas that are coming up. And it's the idea of I was a Girl Scout, so I learned to be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the idea of being prepared and not getting caught off guard.
Gotcha.
The idea of just being present in the moment so that you can respond in the moment in spite of any feelings you may have about events happening. And I think that, I think that that's really current right now, considering all of the different events that we have going on.
You mean, yes, definitely. And what do you,
mentally.
I'm sorry, I missed that last one. Hello, Tracy, are you there? Tracy? Well, there seems to be a little bit of a problem with the connection. As I try to get Tracy back again. So let's talk about that for a minute. Being prepared in unprepared situations is really interesting how we navigate through those things. And I think for me, I don't like to get blindsided or, caught off guard. But, and again, I feel more if you are living moment to moment. Tracy, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, great. We lost you for a minute there.
Yes, you did. See, it's important to be prepared so that when these surprising things happen, it's all okay.
Yes, and I was just telling our listeners how I like to be prepared and not get caught off guard, and I'm going blah, blah, blah as I was just caught off guard there as I lost you. So, I guess that means we're in the moment because we're actually living what we're talking about.
Right, exactly. No, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
and now we are going to be prepared for the rest of the hour.
Right.
If in fact this happens again, we're just going to keep moving through it.
Exactly. So Tracy, how do I'm sure that there's other people in your life, who have the same kind of theme going on, correct?
Absolutely.
And how I'm going to open it up a little for yourself and for others. How do you help people through these kind of things when they're blindsided or when they're caught unprepared?
Well, I think that it's about, it depends on the, probably the degree of crisis event. Some things that happen are, miraculous and inspiring and exciting. And then others are, frustrating, angering, or debilitating in some way. So it really depends, obviously, on the spectrum.
Right.
But one of the tag phrases I like to use in my book is it's neither fortune nor misfortune.
Yes.
Whatever happens, let's say you lose that job. But then if you'd taken that job, your boss would have been a total jerk the entire time. It's like no matter what happens to you, it's not receiving negative events or positive events as anything, but it is neither fortune nor misfortune. Right. And that is the recognition that everything happens purposefully, whether or not you know it in the moment that it happens.
Gotcha.
It's truly leaving I like the tag phrase of it's neither fortune nor misfortune because that always calms my heart.
Uh-huh.
It's neither fortune nor misfortune.
Right.
Because there's something else coming and I need to be prepared and alert for it.
Exactly. And by saying it's neither fortune nor misfortune, it also opens the possibility up for no matter which side it's on for transformation,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It leaves you in a position where there's always
possibilities. Yeah.
Yes. The interesting thing, I was reading something this morning, and it was talking about, people oftentimes in this new age, we have several new generations of people, and we all talk a lot about this idea of entitlement,
right?
And spiritual entitlement, and I believe that that's all true. We are all entitled to everything that we truly desire. But the idea of, well, if I already have it, I don't have to go get it. I don't have to work for it if I'm entitled to it, leaves you in a state of unpreparedness.
I agree.
Because you become complacent and, sometimes lazy. You're not used to working for things, so then you can't be prepared to seize the opportunities that may come your way. You may not even see them because you're not in the current flow of your environment.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So first of all is always work at something, stay present, stay current, stay in the flow of things, stay in movement. That doesn't mean that you don't rest. You can rest and take care of yourself, but always be present in every waking moment.
Yeah. Now, some people find that harder than, saying it. Do you know what I mean? Sure. As far as, and again, I think that too, it's so important. I'm kind of going a little bit off track here, but it's so important to always engage somewhat in that creative side of yourself as well. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Let's say that somebody is they've had a bad experience and they're really living in the grief or the suffering or the negativity of that experience. What it looks like to be present to that experience is that if you're in it, grieve it. Like be in that moment. Think about what happened. Go over it and over it and over it in your mind until it can innovate itself. Right? And
yes.
So it's taking what you just said in terms of we are creative beings. We don't have the ability to be stagnant, but we have the illusion of being stagnant.
Exactly.
So if you'll be completely present to whatever, if there's a negative thought pattern going on, if you'll stay in it, eventually yourself is going to get tired of it once it normalizes. And that's when the creative process can begin to innovate it into a transformation, into something new for you.
Yes, I completely agree. And we're going to have to take a short break here. We will be right back. My special guest, Tracy Dunblazer. Stay tuned.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Hey ladies, do you want to have that good hair day feeling all the time? Gentlemen, would you want your special someone to have that glow, letting you know she is feeling completely satisfied? This feeling and that glow can be yours by embracing your sexual power. So join me, Rachel Kenley, award-winning romance author, on the O-Spot. The O-Spot will guide you to that peak with guest interviews, book discussions, and conversations on the thrills of sexual empowerment. Put the zing back in your life. Come up and see me sometime on the O-Spot, live on Hump Day at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Simone Milasas would like you to know that business can be fun, which is why she wrote the book, Joy of Business. What if you could have the joy of business rather than the stress and struggle? Most of the time, the only thing stopping you from a thriving business is you. In the Joy of Business book, Simone gives you access consciousness tools and pragmatic ways to get out of your own way and to create the business, life, and living you know is possible and beyond what this reality says is achievable. Business is joy. It's creation. It's generative. It can be the adventure of living. You can purchase your copy of the book through Amazon or Joy of Business website, www.accessjoyofbusiness.com.
Know what to do, just can't figure out how to fit it all into your busy life? It doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Ellen Baisberg from Seamless Life. Join me every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern on Om Times Radio and learn the how of conscious living. Let me and my guests help make your life seamless.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm here with my special guest, Tracy Dunblazer. Welcome back, Tracy.
Thank you.
Tracy, a lot has been going on with the people, like a lot of my clients and people I've been talking to this week about, summer's coming and everybody's, trying to either, do new regimes, like either exercise program. There's a lot of people trying to cleanse, and just kind of shift themselves.
Yes.
And, but I find that, they come to me and it's like, oh my God, I can't do this. Do you know? And cause when you go through a cleanse or a change in exercise habits, all the stuff comes up.
It does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. In fact, it's hilarious. I just started working with my kettlebells, and I started 3 days ago, and I have felt the worst I've felt.
I hear ya.
I'm like, you know what? Exercise isn't that good for you. It's just not.
Right. And when you first start, after, your body tries every way possible to convince you that this is not the right thing to do.
Exactly.
And your mind. And then you kind of, but then once you your body kind of gets in resolve to it, then, all the other stuff starts coming up, because you're releasing toxins. You're releasing toxic not only in body, but in mind and soul and spirit too,
Absolutely. I think the most important thing is to start with a manageable goal.
Yes.
Start with a little bit of transition. Like for me, I added 2 arm exercises and that's it.
Uh-huh.
And I started a little bit of a cleansing process, which is taking one particular supplement that creates a cleansing of the body. So I'm doing those 2 things and that's it. I try to get up and walk up and down the street a couple of times since I work out of my house, so I don't have to go out if I don't want to.
Right.
So those are the 3 things that I do. They're small. They are very, they don't take much time at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're manageable. And even that has, that just starting something opens you up your mind, body, and spirit to a momentum.
Yes.
And it makes it manageable for you. And that's the most important thing. There's nothing worse than saying, I'm going to work out 3 times a week for 2 hours a day and then disappointing yourself because you don't make it through the first 15 minutes.
Exactly. And then, and also like because I just came off a cleanse, and it's like, you find that, right? When you're like doing something, you find like a lot of your clients and stuff are kind of on that same trail,
Yes, absolutely.
And, it's funny with myself and, I find myself, seeing new things about me, like, oh, I do this because of this, do you know? And, it's about processing that stuff and not just either pushing it back down. Do you know what I mean? It's about kind of integrating it so that you're not doing the same, 6 months down the line, it's like, oh, it's the same thing. Do you know? And I get that there's levels of things, but I'm hearing a lot of clients say it's kind of like, well, I'm doing this and I shouldn't be, so I got to stop it. And I just think that that's not the way, No, it's, it's interesting because, if people don't get anything from this show, but this one thing, this is the thing. Yeah.
It's that when you send away your negative thoughts, you disempower yourself to deal with them.
Yes. Perfect.
You become less powerful when you try to push away or push out or stop a bad behavior. What you want to do is engage in it, involve in it, bring all of yourself to it, because then it'll make it clear that whether it's necessary and what its purpose is, or if you are free to let it go.
Correct.
You know, if people don't understand, we do the behaviors, thoughts, and ideas that have served us. And if we don't have any respect or reverence to the way in which they've served us, we're not going to let them go because they've been good to us on some level that we refuse to acknowledge.
Right. And I think that, though, too, that we also need to, I think we might be saying the same thing here. It's kind of like you need to honor that part of yourself who took care of you for so long, Absolutely. The best way that they could.
Absolutely. And understand their method. You know, maybe you have a particular behavior that is, it emotionally protects you from self-criticism or the illusion of criticism from others, or, it isolates you, and that served you for a period of time, but now you're ready to let that go so that you can be more open and meet more people and do more things, and so you need to respect that aspect and recognize its purpose. And then when you've done that, it makes it clear that you no longer need to continue in that behavior because it's not going to serve you today.
Right. Right. And then once that happens, then it's kind of like, you just kind of got to be aware, of when you're doing it. It's about being aware.
Right. And then it becomes neither fortune nor misfortune.
Exactly.
If you do it, great. And if you don't do it, that's great too. And the less there is emotional attachment to it, the easy, like if it's not something that you use anymore, then you just stop using it and you move into what you're now using. It's like gym equipment that people buy for their house.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, no, hey, we're on this topic, so we might as well just go with it, Well,
because I don't know long time ago, I bought a stationary bike. Oh. And then eventually it moved from one room to the back room to outside, and then eventually out on the street for somebody to take it.
Right.
Because you use it up until you don't use it anymore, and then it just becomes an obstacle that you eventually want to keep it moving on the superhighway of flow in your life. You know what I mean? And give it to somebody else that it can be useful for.
Right. So you can stop dusting it.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And
yes.
I was going to say, and just keep in mind that we also have a Mercury retrograde happening at the end of the month. So now is the time, that happens around the 18th of May. And so you want to get your new patterns in place now. Now is the time to do all the work and become clear on what it is that you want, so that you can, when the energy shift changes, it allows you to really capitalize on the flow and the momentum that you've already created.
Exactly. Now, for those who may not know, can you explain a little bit about the Mercury retrograde?
Sure. So, Mercury is the planet of communications on all levels. And when it goes retrograde, astrologically, it actually has the appearance of moving backwards. And so the ideology behind it is that our communications become sometimes feeling like they're moving backwards, like we get disconnected, like we have issues with our technological devices that allow us to communicate, that's definitely not the time to sign a contract or create a contract, because you want to make sure that that everyone has the common understanding that the contract is trying to convey. So, but Mercury retrograde is a great time to do all the grunt work. It's a great time to do research. It's a great time to fulfill a job. It's a great time to, once you've got your pattern going and your momentum going, it's a great time to be empowered through that, because you're going to be less focused on multi-leveled communication and more focused on your physical movement.
Right.
So,
and it's a good time to kind of explore those kind of internal things.
Exactly. Correct? Exactly. Absolutely.
Well, that's, now going back to, I just wanted to go off there for a minute. Now going back to what we were talking about earlier, what what is your best advice to people? Because, we're human, and it's kind of like, if I want to get to looking a certain way by summer or whatever, of course we're going to be like, oh, well, I'm going to go do this. And half the time we can't follow through with our own commitments.
Right. I would say as a general rule, people gain weight because of inflammation in the body. So if there was one thing that you could do for yourself, it would be eliminate processed sugars. Use stevia. If you could take out all the things that you actually put sugar into, or things that are sugary other than fruits and vegetables, definitely eliminating breads, maybe replacing it with rice crackers or brown rice. But if you just making that subtle change for over 14 days is going to reduce inflammation, and that's going to take off the appearance of 5 to 10 pounds right there. Sometimes the better you feel, the more motivated you feel.
Yes, definitely.
So that would be the one thing where you don't stop eating, you don't necessarily eat less. Sometimes you eat more.
Right.
But it's going to actually change the composition of your body, where your body will actually use the nutrients and the food that you give it differently. And, so that it eliminates, what do you call it? I just said inflammation.
Yeah.
And then the better you feel, the more excited you'll be about starting a new exercise regimen.
Yes. Yes.
But to start with a manageable goal, if your manageable goal is doing 5 minutes three times a week, I guarantee you that you're creating a pattern in that 5 minutes 3 times a week. And who can't do 5 minutes, right? And so once you've done that over a week's time, you can go to 10 minutes or 15 minutes and then eventually 30 minutes. And the thing is it's going to change your energy. You know, it's like you can easily tell your mind and your body, hey, look, I can't do 2 hours today. I just can't do it today. But you're going to laugh at yourself if your mind tells you, I can't do 5 minutes today. You're like, come on.
Yes, exactly. Stay tuned with us. We've got another commercial break. I'm here on Om Times Radio with my guest, Tracy Dunblazer. We'll be right back.
Free your mind with Om Times Radio, IOM FM.
Radio Namaste leads you down the yellow brick road into portals of consciousness with the blue collar goddess as your host. Interviews with humans who could be famous or just popular, and answers to everything are on the agenda. Tune into Om Times Radio and drop in on Thursdays at 3 Eastern. It's a different brand of enlightenment.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. Om Times Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single Om Times endeavor. Host your show with Om Times Radio Network. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
What if living didn't have to be so serious?
What if you could move beyond your problems with greater confidence and ease than you've ever imagined?
Throw your labels out the window and join the Irreverent Therapist for practical tips and a very different way of approaching the changes you would like to create.
Marilyn Bradford
and Pam Hodling
have empowered hundreds of people to come out of self-judgment, quit looking to experts, and begin to create the lives they desire.
Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Irreverent Therapist Show.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, Om Times Radio, IOM FM.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm here with my special guest, Tracy Dunblazer. And Tracy, you know, along with all this stuff that we're talking about here, I think another important aspect for all the pieces to come to place is accepting yourself where you are. Is that true?
Absolutely. Yes, that is absolutely true. You have to, you know, as you think about people who are trying to make their life better, somebody who is an athletic person who maybe hasn't exercised in 6 months, it's not going to be a stretch for them to start exercising 5 times a week. Somebody who's been sedentary for several years and may have a lot of extra weight, there's going to be a lot more momentum for them to stay where they're at rather than to try to, move themselves out of that place. And so you're dealing with multiple levels of, mental and emotional energy that, as you pointed out earlier, you have to work through that stuff. That's paramount to, having ultimately that harmony reflecting down into your physical world where your body is in balance and in harmony with your environment. So, everybody has to stay with where they're at. I definitely agree sometimes that it's great to have a partner in working out or in, staying in a balanced diet, but you've got to choose a partner that's somewhere where you're at.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A person who's an athlete, is not going to be a good partner for somebody who is, maybe possibly obese, right? They can be a leader, they can be a mentor, but they can't be a partner because they don't resonate to the same things. So,
unless they're a trainer or something, right?
Absolutely. But even that, I mean, if you're a person who, let's say you have an extra 50 pounds and you're dealing with somebody who has less than 2% body fat, it's good for you to have weekly visits, but it's imperative for you to have some other partner that is starting more from where you're at.
True.
Because it leaves a lot of room for self-judgment. And somebody who is athletic doesn't understand the mental and emotional trappings that, a person that carries more weight does. They just don't. And they may think that they do because they work with people in a particular way. But, trainers are a particular breed, and they're being fit and healthy is a particular focus. And they stay consistently in that. So they are less in their emotional, spiritual, or intellectual space.
Gotcha. So let's talk about the partner then.
Yes. So you can partner with a friend, a neighbor, a family member, or if we're talking about losing weight here, you can go to Weight Watchers, but somewhere where you're going to find someone who is in a similar position to you, so that you can align with them and either, oftentimes when we work in partnership, there's someone who's slightly dominant and somebody who's slightly submissive, somebody who takes a leadership position. And that when you have two people working towards the same goal, it energetically aligns you in a stronger way to that goal.
Yes.
It helps to align you with a different level of willpower. Willpower is so important, and people don't understand. It's not just about you saying, I'm going to go do this and doing it, right? Willpower is actually on a fundamental level coming from the spiritual concept that there is no separation between you and God.
Gotcha.
Woo-hoo! Isn't that deep?
Yeah. Do you want to expound on that a little bit?
Yeah.
For our listeners?
Yeah. So there is no separation between you, your physical body, your mind, body, spirit, and the Creator, the all that is, all of the other vibrations that integrate us into not only from our reality, but to the rest of the universe. We truly are all one. It is the illusion of separation that we use to better understand ourselves.
Right.
But there's a tipping point, and we go through a process that once we understand our duality, we're able to transcend it and understand oneness. And that oneness leads us to the concept of love. That's what we use in our culture to really acknowledge the understanding of what unification and oneness is, right? That can totally take us into a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
About
but let's go back to honoring the self.
Yeah, but let's stay with the idea of unification and oneness. Willpower is based in your cultivation of love and unity within yourself. Okay, so if you are a person who has, many different personality aspects or many different parts of yourself, many different voices, many different aspects of yourself, the more you integrate those, and everyone is on board with the unified thought of, for example, losing weight. That's when you're going to be successful at losing weight, because you are not at odds with yourself or in conflict with yourself.
Right.
Right. So, that's part of the process in accepting yourself exactly where you're at, is being willing to talk to all the different thoughts and ideas that come to your mind. You don't really need to do that. Like I was saying earlier, you're going to make fun of yourself if you say, I can't do 5 minutes a day, 3 days a week. Right. That's ridiculous. You can't get around that.
Right.
Right.
I once told my trainer way back, I was like, I don't have time to stretch before I exercise.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's hilarious once, when you make the resistance, when you make it show itself, that this is just purely resistance. It is not based in anything logical.
Right.
And one of the processes that I go through to recognize something as resistance is say, okay, if I can't do 5 minutes, what can I do?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And usually there's silence.
Right.
They just don't want to do anything at all. And if that's the case, right, then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to do the 5 minutes then. There's nothing stopping me. Like, there's no reason why I can't do this. There's no detriment to me. There's nothing bad coming my way. This is exactly what I need to be doing.
Right.
Right. But you ask it straight out. You don't skirt the question. You ask it and you get an answer. Right. And then you're able to move forward.
Exactly. Yes.
And if you need to go through 2 or 3 weeks of working out the 5-minute regimen or the 10-minute regimen, you're creating a new spiritual pattern and momentum that in time is going to create a whole new life pattern, so that you're not ever going to be in the position that you're in today. And that's the goal. The goal isn't to lose a quick 15 pounds or a quick 30 pounds or a quick 50 pounds. The goal is to change the pattern that is allowing this level of stagnation to happen in the first place. Exactly.
And again, we're giving physical examples, but, we can go to the mind too, and it's with our thought processes and stuff like that, and kind of like issues as well, and they can be really tricky. Don't you think sometimes?
Absolutely. Mental, for me, I use the same philosophy, which is ask it what it is. Talk to it. If you're saying that, I don't, like, for example, somebody has a thought that's based in that they don't trust people, trusting other people, trusting people in their life. Okay. Why? Right. Get the why. And then it allows you to get into your rational thinking, which is the rational part allows you to stop in to understand exactly where you're at, and then to begin to innovate that idea. Right? Because anytime we want to make changes in something, when people don't trust other people, usually there's a reason for it. Right. Usually they've been betrayed in some way. And so you ask yourself, okay, well, why can't I trust this person? I guarantee you, if you don't trust somebody, there's a reason for it. And it will, in having that conversation with yourself, it allows you to get at what the issue is.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, and it also allows you to kind of separate your pattern from your intuitive awareness. Do you know what I mean? I mean, there's some people you come in contact with that you just get a hit that, you know what, this person, but then there's the other side that there'll be people you come in contact with that are perfectly fine, but because of that pattern you already have, you know, you're going to automatically go to the not trust side, you know?
Exactly. And so you really have to be willing to challenge your initial thoughts in order to gain a deeper understanding. Yes. You know, ultimately we don't trust others because we really don't trust ourselves, and we want to keep ourselves limited to our situations so that we don't have to continually be disappointed in ourselves.
Exactly.
You know, everything.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I also think that's like what you were saying earlier about setting like little goals that you can manage, because one of the reasons we don't trust ourselves is because we strive out to do all these big things. Do you know what I'm saying? And then we don't keep our commitments to ourselves.
Yeah, we don't do them because they're overwhelming, and we also didn't understand all of the levels of impact doing that one thing was going to happen, you know, what it would create for us. And so then you get overwhelmed and you're like, yeah, it's not that important.
Yeah. And, you know, it's funny, too, because I think this is a lot of times on a subconscious level. But if you're talking about like exercise and maybe changing your diet or doing a cleanse, it's kind of like, and your goal is like a change in your physical body. A lot of times when all this stuff that wants to be, you know, all this mental, spiritual, emotional stuff comes out, you know, you're like, you really get overwhelmed, and it has nothing to do with the physical. Do you know what I mean? And so people stop.
Right. Because they're not prepared for the spiritual, mental, and emotional momentum that has already begun that they've been unaware of.
Exactly. You know,
anything that you do, it doesn't matter if you start in the spiritual or you start in the physical, wherever you start, it's going to bring you the awareness of the stagnance on other levels. That's just how the universe works. So it doesn't matter where you start, mental, emotional, spiritual, or physical, right? Any ritual that you do is going to create a lineage of awareness.
Exactly. And we will be right back. We're taking another station break. I'm here with my guest, Tracy Dunblazer, and you're on Om Times Radio. Stick with us.
The future of Internet radio is here. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Hello, I'm Miriam Knight of New Consciousness Review, inviting you to my new show where I interview the rising stars of the conscious awakening. We'll explore the many faces of consciousness and action and intriguing perspectives on life, the universe, and everything in between. Join us each Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern on the Rising Stars Show.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the Internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. Om Times Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single Om Times endeavor. Host your show with Om Times Radio Network. Om Times Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Om Times, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Live with
medium Lisa Phoenix, Mediumship Messages and Musings, explores mediumship and all things metaphysical. Lisa Phoenix invites you to reach above and beyond your everyday experiences to explore new dimensions in the spirit world. She will do live readings to connect callers to their loved ones in spirit, shares engaging stories and teachings from her own personal experience, and will have intriguing conversations with other mediums, spiritual teachers, and healers to help you understand the metaphysical world so you can connect to these forces in your day-to-day life. Join your host on this magical and metaphysical journey into the world of spirit every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm here with my guest, Tracy Dunblazer. You're on Om Times Radio. Tracy, now how else can you advise others as far as honoring themselves and things that they can do to accept themselves the way they are?
Well, I wanted to
and where they're at.
Yeah. I wanted to revisit a little bit, Lisa, about the idea of partnership.
Yes.
Because on the other side of partnership, oftentimes people can be a lift to us or they can be a weight to us.
Yes.
And it's important that because I was thinking about, there are a lot of listeners out there who don't have partners of any sort. Maybe they don't have a lot of friends, or maybe they work for themselves, and maybe they don't really know their neighbors, right?
Yes.
So, we have access to partnerships. One of the things that I do a lot is I buy books that I don't ever read, but I buy a book, maybe by somebody who is in the place I want to be, right?
Yes.
Or maybe they've got a story that is similar to my story, but they have, evolved themselves through it in whatever way I have respect for. So I buy that book and it sits on my coffee table, and sometimes I'll pick it up and scroll through it, but then sometimes I literally know that I receive it by osmosis.
No, yeah, I have a whole library that I do that with.
Right?
Yes.
Exactly.
No, it's true. Yes.
Your unconscious self, your subconscious mind is open to new ideas on an energy level. And so whether or not you know other human beings, you still have access to support in your evolution. And you can do that, through television, through the internet, through books and publishing, through newspapers. There's all, even if you found an article in a free weekly magazine, we want to make an obstacle, money. We want money to be an obstacle about everything, but at the end of the day, there's free stuff out there. You just have to be willing to look for it. You can go to the library and get on the internet. You can get a free weekly magazine from your local store. There are ways to get what you need for free, so that there is absolutely no obstacle whatsoever except for the one that you set for yourself. And then you have to acknowledge that. You have to accept that. You know what? I'm really the obstacle here. I'm the one that is in resistance to this change. Then that takes you to the next idea. Well, why? Why are you resistant to this change? Let's say you're, because you don't want to be revealed. That is the biggest reason why people don't do things, whether it's for themselves, within their families, or a relationship, or even a person who is going from to more of a public life where they're going to be around more people, is that they don't want to be revealed. They're afraid that if they really show who they are, that others will judge them.
Yes.
When the reality is that they have been judging themselves all of this time, which is why they've kept themselves quiet.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
So, the whole idea of being revealed and being witnessed, having other people, places, or things recognize you as a human being, there's a transition to that. That's something that we don't necessarily already know how to do. That's a skill we cultivate over time. And it's something that we can easily use as an obstacle for ourselves if we choose to.
Right. Yeah.
So, I think that you've got to be willing to say, okay, well, what is my issue? What is my conflict? Why don't, what happens if I lose that weight? I know a lot of people who gain weight because they're single and they don't want a relationship, but they tell themselves every day how much they want a relationship.
Right. Yes.
Right. So, the more they feel good about themselves, the more they're at a weight that they like and feel comfortable at, the more open they're going to be to possibly getting into a relationship. And then that's going to bring a whole other series of problems that they believe are inevitable.
Right.
So, the good news is that you can start there. What are my, where have I been betrayed, and have I found forgiveness? Right? This takes us right into the idea of forgiving yourself and other people. Forgiveness is not the idea of saying, hey, it's okay, I'm over it now. The idea of forgiveness says, I am so fully grieved and I so fully understand what happened, what you did, how I contributed, and now I'm at peace with it that I no longer need to pay attention to it.
Right.
I am now neutral. I have forgiven the situation. I have forgiven you as a person. And sometimes finding forgiveness with people that we still have in our lives, family members, aunts, uncles, cousins, sisters, brothers, parents, who have betrayed us in some way, but yet they have to be in our lives in some way, that leaves the onus on us to, protect ourselves or not put ourselves in a position to either be hurt again by that person or betrayed by them. And to really allow us to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take care of you. And I'm not ever going to put you in a position to have whatever that was happened, to have it happen again. Right? That this person can be in my life, and even on a periphery to whatever degree, or sometimes it's saying, even though you're my family member, I can't have you in my life because I can't have the way you treat me. Or I can't have this circumstance.
Exactly. And, coming from a point of view from the other side, I mean, a lot of times there's a lot of that goes on, and that our loved ones and family members will come back because we're holding on to something between us and them that they've let go of. Do you know?
Right.
And so it's I had a situation where I was upset about another family member, the way they treated my mom, and she came back and she's like, why are you still holding on to that? I'm not.
Right.
You know, and it's kind of, it's that whole.
Well, and what's interesting is that take that for an example. If there are others out there in the world that have that same experience, they need to ask themselves, well, what is it? Why am I holding on to that?
Exactly.
Is it really about their relationship, or is it my fear that that's going to happen to me? Or am I similar to my mother in this way? Therefore, I'm fearful of fill in the blank, right? Because anytime we hold on to something, there is a personal reason for it.
Yes.
Right? It lights something up. It mirrors something. It does something for us that creates a cord and an attachment so that we don't forget that, so it doesn't happen to us.
Right.
Right. And all you have to do to find forgiveness in it is to recognize that one thing, whatever that is, whatever you're holding on to it, there's purpose in it. And so when you recognize that purpose, you can go, oh, okay, well, you know what? I'm at let's say, for example, that happened. I don't know the situation, but let's say it happened 10 years ago and you're still holding on to it. The person that you are today is, infinitely different than you were.
Exactly.
And oftentimes people get in that kind of a position where they're holding on to something that could be, years old, and they have changed as a person. So they actually can trust themselves today because they've evolved to the point where that kind of circumstance probably wouldn't even come up.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes all we have to do is remind ourselves of that. Like remind ourselves who we are today. And say, I've really changed from that person 10 years ago. I'm different today. So that's not going to be a situation or an opportunity for me.
Exactly.
So, people learning to, the other important thing, as I take a long, deep breath,
breathe,
yeah, you have to let energy in. And sometimes in times of anxiety and stress, we forget to actually take air all the way into our diaphragm, all the way into our gut, and then really exhale it. that creates an energetic space to let more energy and information in. Mm-hmm. And it calms your heart, slows your blood pressure. It really changes things on a lot of levels. So, breathing is number one. Start there. Start with the breath, becoming conscious of the breath. Our body obviously naturally breathes. We have an autonomic nervous system that keeps all of that in check for us. But sometimes we get into a pattern where we don't breathe deeply.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's the same kind of thing. If just being aware of the different parts of your body that tense up, do you know?
Yes. Absolutely.
Because that also cuts off like air and energy, Yes.
Yes, it does.
But a lot of times from past, whether it's trauma experiences, whatever, you won't even, if you don't really like focus on being aware of it, you won't be aware of it,
Right. And I think too that a lot of times we have this idea, 10 years ago, I was really aware of it. So somehow you have retained that exact same awareness when in fact you've changed. And you might be aware of the old thing, but you're not aware of the way in which you've evolved.
Exactly.
That awareness.
Right.
We really are ever changing moment to moment. And so that's the whole concept behind, really being present is recognize how you've changed. Recognize how your environment has changed. Recognize, you might have changed and have a whole group of friends that they've not gone in the direction you have, and so you have less in common and less interest.
Exactly. Yes. Oh, Tracy, our time is at an end. Thanks so much for being on the show this morning, and thanks for helping all of us expand our awareness. As I mentioned to all of you out there in Radio Land, please visit Tracy's website, www.tracydunblazer.com. That's TRACEEDUNBLAZIER.com. Thank you all for hanging out with us today. If you want further information on the show, you can contact me at the Om Times Radio site, or you can email me at info@lisaphoenix.net, or go to my website, lisaphoenix.net. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a great day.